In a time when global conversations around gender identity, marriage equality, and human rights are front and center, a single sentence from one of the most influential religious leaders on the planet has sent shockwaves across communities worldwide. Pope Leo XIV, the head of the Catholic Church, has reignited a cultural firestorm with his latest public statement, a firm declaration that marriage is between a man and a woman. The fallout? Massive. The reactions? Fierce. And the implications? Possibly historic. Within hours of his remarks, social media exploded. LGBTQIA+ activists, allies, politicians, and public figures across the globe took to every platform to express outrage, disappointment, and concern. Protests erupted outside Vatican embassies. Hashtags like #NotMyPope and #LoveIceLove trended worldwide. Was this just a reaffirmation of traditional Catholic doctrine? Or was it a targeted dismissal of the strides made in LGBTQIA+ rights over the past decade? In this video, we unpack exactly what Pope Leo XIV said, why it's caused such a seismic reaction, and what this means for the future of global religious and civil discourse. It began as a seemingly routine press conference at the Vatican. Pope Leo XIV, now 2 years into his papacy, stood before reporters to address a wide range of issues from poverty and war to migration and climate change. But it was a question about modern family values that triggered the moment now etched into headlines worldwide. When asked about the Church's evolving view on marriage and inclusivity, Pope Leo responded, "The sacrament of marriage, as instituted by God and recognized by the Church, is between a man and a woman. This is not a political position. It is a spiritual truth." The room fell silent. Cameras clicked. Within minutes, headlines were rolling out. By the end of the day, millions had seen the clip, and thousands had already begun organizing what would become one of the most intense global responses to a papal statement in years. To understand why this hit such a nerve, we need to look at both context and timing. The Catholic Church has long maintained a traditional stance on marriage. That part is not new. But Pope Leo's predecessor had taken a notably softer, more pastoral tone toward the LGBTQIA+ community. He had famously said, "Who am I to judge?" and even encouraged civil unions as a way to recognize same-sex partnerships. So many had hoped or believed the Church might continue evolving. Instead, Leo XIV's remark was interpreted by many as a step backward. LGBTQIA+ communities around the world were quick to respond. In major cities like New York, London, Berlin, and São Paulo, rainbow flags flew outside churches in protest. Celebrities and public figures voiced their disapproval. Elton John posted, "With all due respect, love is love. And no one gets to gatekeep that, not even the Pope." Statements from human rights organizations like Amnesty International called the remarks regressive and harmful. But the backlash wasn't limited to the LGBTQIA+ community. Even within the Church, divisions quickly surfaced. Some Catholic priests and bishops publicly expressed disappointment. A progressive bishop in Germany tweeted, "Doctrine must not be used as a weapon. Our faith should be rooted in compassion, not exclusion." Catholic youth groups, particularly in Europe and Latin America, released open letters calling for greater inclusivity and dialogue, accusing the Vatican of being out of step with modern reality. Meanwhile, supporters of the Pope defended his words as being doctrinally sound. They argue he simply reiterated what the Church has always taught, that the sacrament of marriage, from a theological perspective, is rooted in the union between a man and a woman, a belief based on centuries of tradition and scriptural interpretation. Many traditionalist Catholics applauded the Pope for standing firm and not bending to what they call cultural trends. But what's notable about this moment is not just what was said, it's who it affects and how. For millions of LGBTQIA+ Catholics, the Pope's words weren't just theological, they were deeply personal. For them, it wasn't about doctrine, it was about dignity. Many spoke out, saying the Church, which claims to be a moral compass, continues to exclude and marginalize people for who they are and who they love. Some even described the statement as a betrayal, especially after Pope Leo XIV had previously emphasized themes of unity, healing, and compassion. They saw his declaration not just as a statement of belief, but as a symbolic rejection. The broader question now is, where does this leave us? In many parts of the world, marriage equality is not just accepted, it's enshrined in law. In others, it remains criminalized. The Pope's words don't carry legal authority, but his spiritual influence extends across continents and into the lives of 1.3 billion Catholics. His statements shape worldviews, policies, and, in some places, even legislation. Critics fear that his words could be used to justify discrimination, especially in countries where LGBTQIA+ rights are already under threat. At the same time, others see this moment as a wake-up call, an opportunity to have tough conversations about faith, identity, and the future of organized religion. Because one thing is certain, the world is watching. And it's not just waiting for answers, it's demanding them. In the days following the statement, Vatican officials have not issued any retraction or clarification. Instead, they've doubled down, saying that while the Church welcomes all people, it cannot change divine law to suit the shifting tides of culture. And that brings us to the bigger picture, the ongoing tension between tradition and progress. Can the Church evolve without losing its identity? Can faith coexist with modern values of equality and inclusion? Or is this the beginning of a deeper divide between the institution and the people it seeks to guide? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear, this story is far from over. The words of one man, albeit the leader of the world's largest religious institution, have ignited a firestorm that spans continents, cultures, and communities. Whether you see it as a defense of faith or an act of exclusion, Pope Leo XIV's statement has sparked a moment of reckoning. What does marriage mean today? Who gets to define it? And how much power should religious institutions still hold in shaping that narrative? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you believe the Pope was simply upholding his beliefs, or do you think this marks a step backward in the fight for LGBTQIA+ equality? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most pressing and polarizing stories. Until next time, stay informed and stay human.